So what I'm going to do now is I am going to make sure that I have any modifications complete with my pinch pots that I need done before attaching them. So what I'm essentially saying is there any way I need to reshape these pinch pots before I attach them? Well, I'm going to be turning this into a pumpkin. So what I'm gonna do before I attach them, and this is just personal preference, is I am going to add that little divot that kind of goes down the top center area of pumpkins. So which one is gonna be my top piece? Let's see. Well, looks kind of about same. I kind of like it like this. So I'm gonna make this one my top piece, and I'm gonna add in the divot in the middle. What's nice about doing it before you attach them is you still have control of the inside of the pinch pot. You'll notice that after we attach these pinch pots together, it's going to become increasingly challenging to work from the inside of the pinch pot. So let's say I push too far in at some point while I'm doing this, I can put my hand inside of the pinch pot and push it back out. After I attach these together, that's going to become a lot more challenging. So that's why it's nice to figure out if there's anything that you have to do or change to the shape of your pinch pots before you attach them together. Okay, so I'm going to call that good. So now when I attach them, that part's going to be the top of my pumpkin and this will be the base. So right now the base is really rounded, right? This is very wobbly, but once I make this an actual object, I'm going to want it to sit kind of level. So what I remember when I did this with the top lip, I'm going to do a very similar thing with the very bottom of this pinch pot. This is just going to create a very small flattened area that will allow this piece to sit nice and level. Just kind of tap it until you feel like you have it perfect, and I think that's good. Alrighty, so now I am ready to attach these two pieces together. So I'm going to follow the very standard method of clay attachment that you guys already know, which is, ooh, whoopsie, oh, that's okay. Accidents like that will happen to you guys. The goal is just that they're never too severe where you can't fix it. Anyhow, as I was saying, we are going to be doing the score, slip, stick, and smooth method to attach these two pinch pots together. So I'm going to go ahead and get that going, and yeah. So now I've scored both sides of my pinch pots that I'm going to attach. Now I'm going to add the slip also onto both sides. Okay, so I have now added our water clay mixture, also known as slip, onto both pinch pots I'm going to attach. Just realized, haven't addressed this, but yes, I am using red clay today. As you guys recall, we have both gray clay, which will eventually turn white, as well as red clay, which I guess more has a brownish hue to it. We have both of those colors in our classroom. Gray clay and red clay. Red clay is great. It gives a beautiful natural look to your project when it's all done, but just be warned that your hands are going to be temporarily a little orange for a little bit. But if you wash your hands a couple times, it comes out easy peasy. Okay, so I have scored and slipped both surfaces. Now I'm going to follow it up with the sticking and smoothing steps. So I'm going to find the best way. Let me try to get you guys a good angle. Best way for this to line up. I found it. Make sure we're lined up relatively equal all around before we really stick it down. Okay, any areas? Oh, sorry guys, I'm trying to focus on the camera while I do this. Any areas that seem to be poking a little far out, I'm kind of pushing them in. At this point, I do not have control of the inside of my pinch pot, which makes it very challenging. So you don't want to push too far in any one given spot, because you're not going to be able to push it back out, at least for a while, until I show you guys how. So as I'm sticking these sides together, I notice some slip is coming out. That is totally fine. Honestly, if you get to the point where slip is squeezing out the sides, then you know you did a good job with the slip. You don't want to underdo the slip. A common mistake is people don't have enough slip and their clay doesn't stick together. Once the slip stops coming out, you know you've pretty much squeezed it together as much as you can. So I'm getting really close in the edges, getting all of these edges all lined up and connected. Okay. Sorry if I'm getting off screen. I'm trying hard to focus on both. Okay, so next I'm going to do the smooth step. Lots of different tools you could use for this. Where did I put it? I'm really a huge fan of the serrated rib tool, as you guys probably have seen. So what I like to do is I like to take this serrated rib, and this sounds very counterproductive, but rough up the seam where it all connects. What it's going to do, as I told you guys in a prior demo, is it's going to displace all of the high peaks of clay, and it's going to move them into the low areas of clay. In other words, the crease that we have between our two pinch pots. So I'll finish this up, and then I'll get back to you guys when this part is all set up. Everything around the seam, which is the first part of our smoothing step, ironically. Next, I'm going to actually smooth it all out by using the smooth side of our rib tool, or you could get an actual smooth rib tool instead of just using the back side of a serrated tool. I'm just very gently smoothing out all the clay that I just roughed up. It's going to give me a nice smooth surface to where it looks as if the pumpkin has no seam. So I'm going to finish up this step and show you when I'm done. All right, so I've now smoothed out the seam, so it all looks pretty seamless. It doesn't look like it started as two bowls, it just looks like one sphere. What's unique is from how it looks like it's a solid piece of clay, but this entire thing is hollow or filled with air. So that is how you attach some pinch pots. One thing that you will always need to know, though, a little side note, is that whenever you attach pieces of clay together, you are essentially creating a giant air bubble. So essentially, if you have a hollow piece of clay like this, and you just put it in the kiln as is, it is definitely going to break on you. However, what you can do to make sure it does not break is you can add an air hole, or a single spot for the air to escape from. So I'm going to add that to this. Usually air holes aren't necessarily a pretty aspect of ceramics, so you try to find a nice discreet area to put it. I am going to put the air hole for my pumpkin right in the very bottom of it. So if you're at home and you have a straw is a great way to put a nice even shaped air hole. Air holes should always be at least this thick as a straw. If you have a bigger air bubble or air pocket, then you want a bigger hole. However, I'm going to want to work on the inside of this project a little, so I need it to be at least as thick as my pinky so I can at least push some areas out. So I'm using a boba straw. So using a boba straw, I will just find the center and very carefully create a air hole. And now it doesn't want to come out. Great. Okay, well, so I lost my piece of clay inside of there. So I guess it'll be more of like a rattle now. But that's totally fine. I have the air hole in the bottom of my pumpkin. Air can now escape. This will not blow up in the kiln, which is good news. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to finish the rest of my pumpkin. I'll show it to you guys at the very end, but I'm not going to bore you with all the details of me adding my decorations. So I will be right back. Okay. So now I have finished making my pumpkin. What I did is I took, honestly, just the back side of my paintbrush because it worked kind of with it as an angled carving tool. And I just carved in these vertical lines going around my sphere, and then I rolled out a coil, which you guys already learned about, and I attached the coil on top to make a stem. So that is how I used the attaching a pinch pot to make a hollow form method to create a pumpkin. So take care. See you guys next time.